doing a review for Fear the Walking Dead, Season 2, Episode 7, entitled Shiva. Can I say I like the beginning? You know, we start off with a flashback in the jungles of El Salvador with Daniel as a little boy looking at the bodies in the water. Then you hear the shot. Of course, it's when Strand killed Thomas. Well, at least that's what we think it is. So, Daniel and his daughter Ophelia, they get up. They're going to make a run for it, but Ophelia's face starts melting. Then he wakes up again, double nightmare. And then we find out that Celia is not too pleased with how Strand killed Thomas and didn't kill himself. And she decides she's going to kick the group out. And then we see a little later, just a few seconds later, you see Chris running through the vineyards and Travis is chasing after him. So Cecilia wants them all to go until Nick goes back to the boat and gets Louise, covers himself in blood and brings back, Louise all gagged and bound, and Cecilia's like, oh, you guys can stay. And then that becomes an issue. It's like, why does Nick want to stay? And it's like, I guess it was good Pizzoli. That's what he's sticking around for. And while that's just happening, Travis is out looking for Chris, who ran away. Ends up at some farmhouse. He's talking to the guy, trying to figure it out, and he realizes, the guy's just trying to get him out of there. Looks over at this door, and he realizes there's someone behind it. The guy's like, yeah, he told me if I'm going to get rid of you, he harmed my boy. So Travis breaks down the door, and who is it? It's Chris with a gun to the kid's head. And I was like, whoa! I thought that was a bit of a surprise. I'm kind of worried where they're taking the Chris character. They're turning him into the next Shane. And it's like, oh, man, come on, why? And then when this is going on, Daniel's freaking out. He's trying to get Ophelia and get off the compound, saying, her mother is at the gate. And some of Celia guys try to jump him. He cuts one of the guys with a razor. We see him later. He's bound and gagged. Well, he's bound to a chair. Celia comes in, offers him some of that Pizzoli. I'm telling you, there's something about that Pizzoli. Nick doesn't want to leave. And Celia's trying to talk Daniel into staying. What's she using? She's using the Pizzoli. There must be some really good Pizzoli. But anyway, while this is going out, Celia is trying to convince Daniel to confess his sins and whatnot. Daniel's hearing voices again, and it's his wife and Ophelia's mother. I don't remember her name from season 1. Who she was killed off. So he's seeing ghosts, like Rick. Season 3 of The Walking Dead. Come on, guys. I know some things are just inevitably going to be the same as The Walking Dead, but you've got to get outside the box. So while Daniel is talking to his ghost wife, they start talking about his sins, about all the people he killed, and they go back to when he was a little boy by the riverside in El Salvador, and someone gave Daniel a gun because there was one person still in the riverbed who was alive and told him, hey, end this guy, and Daniel shot the guy. He was a kid, he shot the guy. And, that was his first victim, but his wife's like, no, you were your first victim. Interesting. Okay, so then Cecilia and Madison start talking about the walkers they got in the wine cellar. Celia goes inside the thing, and I knew right away what was going to happen. That Madison was going to lock her in. And I'm scratching my head. It's like, first, why is she opening the gate to go in? I mean, the walkers are kind of busy, distracted, being, eating a pig or something. But it's like, does she feel safe walking in? I wouldn't, even if I did have that whole let's keep the dead around thing. They're going to bite the shit out of her. And like I said, Madison locks her in. I'm like, why would you do that? I mean, it's like Madison wants to stay, but she doesn't want to deal with crazy Celia. But it's sort of like, you think everyone else on the villa isn't going to be able to figure out what happened? You're like, well, I bet Celia went in, because she does that. And then this blonde bitch locked her in. I mean, unless, they didn't Madison's like, oh, I didn't go in with her. I guess she locked herself in. It's like, Madison probably still has the keys, so that's probably not going to work. And it's like, she wasn't that bad of a person, crazy Celia, that you would go out of your way to make sure she gets eaten alive. Just my thoughts. It's like, calm down, Madison, and try the Pizzoli, and you realize maybe you should keep Celia alive. Now no one's going to get any Pizzoli. Fuck you, Madison. So, after Madison does that, Daniel shows up, unlocks the gate somehow. I guess Madison left the keys somewhere around, and pours some gasoline on the thing. He's getting ready to light it, and as the walkers are coming towards him, he starts imagining them as, I guess his victims from the past, including dead wife. He still lights the place up. The next thing you know, the whole villa goes up. And I was confused by that. It's like, it's a wine cellar. Is, like, wine that flammable that the whole place would be going up in minutes flat? It's like one building just starts exploding after the other. It's like, really? It's wine. I know, like, certain alcohol content is, like, flammable, but, it's wine. So, altogether, that was an okay episode. Not much of a mid-season, cliffhanger. It's like Nick and, Chris, they're off doing their thing, and, Nick decided he doesn't want to be a part of the group anymore, and they couldn't find Daniel, and he's going crazy, and that's how they leave it. But it's like, it just seemed kind of weak. I guess the group is broken up and we'll have to wait a few weeks to see them get back together again. Meh. That's how I just